Well, hello, everyone. This is John Byrne with Poets and Quants. Welcome to our one-on-one conversation about entrepreneurship. We have a special guest today, Professor Jamie Jones, who is the Executive Director of Fuqua Center for Entrepreneurship and Innovation. Welcome, Jamie.
Thanks, John. I'm pleased to be with you all today and have this conversation about what we're working on here at Fuqua.
Fantastic. So let's start with a really basic question. How do you teach entrepreneurship at Duke's Fuqua School of Business?
We focus on helping students cultivate an entrepreneurial mindset. And so we're very focused on the fact that you can be entrepreneurial through different career paths. And our focus is on helping you build the competencies that you need to be successful, whether you want to launch your own venture or whether you want to go be an entrepreneur inside a larger firm. And so for us, that starts with our entrepreneurial mindset and action course that all students, all of our MBAs are required to take this course as soon as they arrive on campus. And that really sets the culture and tone for the rest of the MBA experience.
That's great. How long has the program been around, and who tends to be attracted to it beyond the core required course?
Yeah, so we were founded in 2005, and our focus has really been leveraging the world-class research that our academic faculty do and harnessing that and integrating it into the classroom and into the evidence-based curriculum that you'll get exposure to while at Fuqua. And so for us, the types of folks that are interested and are really attracted to what we have to offer are those who have an idea and want to bring that idea to life. They have an action bias, and they really want to move just from idea to bringing that idea to life, so that they can have a positive impact on the world around them. And that type of person ranges from folks who want to enter a career as a product manager in big tech, to those who are looking to partner with an investigator across campus and bring a new innovation out of the research labs to life.
I think it's kind of fascinating that you immediately hit first-year MBAs with this entrepreneurship mindset course. Why so early in the curriculum, and what's the intent?
We believe that an entrepreneurial mindset really sets you apart from your peers, right? When you think about what the core of entrepreneurship is, it's identifying a problem we're solving. It's marshaling the both human capital as well as the financial capital necessary to develop and bring that solution to life in a way that meets those customer needs. And it's about how do you formulate a business model that allows you to scale once you've identified that potential solution and validated it. And so we believe that really sets the tone for all the tools that you're going to develop throughout your MBA. And so getting that exposure early of understanding, at least at the highest level, what the entrepreneurial process looks like and feels like is something that you can take into the rest of your MBA experience and build on and go deeper along specific verticals. And so for us, it's really important for you to get that exposure when you come into your MBA program, because it's something that you'll build on through the rest of your 2 years at Fuqua.
Yeah, this is something in a way that coincides with everything I believe. Living a successful life is getting stuff done.
Yeah.
And what an entrepreneurial mindset really does teach is no matter what your resources are, it's getting something done. And that's incredibly important no matter what job you hold, or if in fact you're going to do a startup. And the truth is that very few MBAs end up starting companies in school or right after graduation. So teaching them how to think like an entrepreneur and act like an entrepreneur is even more important than how to start a company with a business plan, right?
That's right. And actually what I just want to build on that, and that's how we think about the entrepreneurial mindset and cultivating that amongst our Fuqua students. And we do that because, again, it may not be your first step in your career, but the alumni survey data that we recently collected indicated that there's a large portion of Fuqua alums that 13 years post-graduation, that was the average, 13 years, actually become entrepreneurs and launch new businesses at that point in their career. And that actually aligns really well with the existing academic research out there as well that shows that the most successful entrepreneurs are not the 20-year-olds in their parents' garage like we celebrate, but really folks who tend to be in their late 30s and early 40s who have seen, right, identified an opportunity, as we just talked about, through their prior professional experiences and took that entrepreneurial leap because they had identified a problem worth solving.
Is experiential learning a part of that core entrepreneurship mindset course?
Yes, it is very much so. You can learn lots of things in the classroom. That's all very important to get those good foundations, but that translational piece of taking that and learning how to apply it in the real world, which may not be as neat as it is in a case study, is certainly something that we support here at Fuqua. We have lots of different ways to do that, from applied consulting problems through our Fuqua client consulting practicum, where you work directly with a startup team on a project or problem that's of strategic importance to them, to our mentored study program, where you can work alongside and shadow a founder of a startup or another leader within the executive team, to support them on a project that's meaningful to the startup and learn alongside them in that exploration.
Yeah, in fact, those sound like really important programming elements on an entrepreneurship journey of one kind or another. I'm wondering what other things you might have, even on the co-curricular side, that make Duke a great training ground for would-be entrepreneurs.
Yes, and one of the things I get most excited about our offering here at Fuqua is how interdisciplinary it is. We really do a good job of reaching across campus and engaging with this amazing institution that we have here at Duke University. And so programs like our New Venture Fellows program, which is a partnership with our Tech Transfer Office, allows students to actually work with inventors across campus on the commercialization of the inventions coming out of their research labs. Students have a chance through the Duke Angel Network Associates program to actually learn how to screen and evaluate early stage startups for investment and then make a recommendation back to our alumni angel network. So you're getting that real-time flavor for both sides of the table, both the startup side as well as the investor side, which is so valuable no matter what your career path is going to be. And then even our traditional business formation classes, our new venture core sequence, which includes new venture discovery, new venture development, and new venture delivery, are interdisciplinary. And so our MBAs have a chance to be on a team working alongside students from the law school, students from our public policy program, PhD students working in disciplines across campus, and even our undergraduates. And so being able to be part of a diverse team where you have complementary skill sets that are going to allow you to build a really robust solution is, I think, a critical element of what we offer here at Fuqua, because we are part of this larger world-class academic institution at Duke.
Yeah, that's a really good point, because I see more and more schools taking this interdisciplinary approach. And after all, a group of MBA students who primarily know business but don't know technology or computer science or engineering or what have you are going to be quite limited in creating a new product that has true value. What level of demand are you seeing for those who in fact want to use the program as something of an incubator?
Yeah, that varies year to year for sure. I think we're seeing growing demand of people who want to build an entrepreneurial mindset. And we certainly have a handful of students who come in and are passionate about launching their own venture now and using the time during their MBA to incubate that idea while they're surrounded by this supportive community and have tremendous access to the resources that are available across the institution. But where I see the most growth is actually in students who come in who want that experience while they're here, but are looking to go into startups immediately post-graduation. It's not that they're looking necessarily to only go into big tech or into established CPG firms or going to investment banking, but they're looking at startups, mostly Series B and beyond, because they see this as an opportunity to really have a diverse set of experiences, be able to grow with the organization, doing something really exciting and fast-paced.
Yeah, and those jobs tend to allow you more impact immediately than jobs in mainstream MBA positions. Isn't that right?
That's right. And really leverage the entirety of your MBA. In those roles, you're rarely relegated to a specific, functional role. You're having to wear many different hats and leverage the entirety of the MBA curriculum that you've just gone through to create value for the organization that you've just joined. And so they're a tremendous opportunity for the right type of MBA to go out and seek that early in their career.
Yeah, Jamie, we've been through a pandemic. In fact, it seems to linger and not go away entirely. But I wonder how the pandemic has affected your approach to education at Fuqua.
Yeah, and I would say it certainly has had a little bit of an impact. It mostly forced us to be a little more flexible on the in-person versus virtual. But, when it comes to, were we severely impacted by it when it comes particularly to our entrepreneurial education? I would say no. And I think part of that is because the types of students that are attracted to our courses and our programs are flexible and nimble and willing to react and be adaptable to a dynamic environment. And so I couldn't have asked for a better group of students to be working with in a world that was changing every minute. And so we've expanded how we think about connecting students with speakers, and certainly more willing to go virtual, but that energy and enthusiasm never lingered. And it probably even has escalated given the fact that the world was more dynamic and it was easier to spot good problems to solve, which energized our students.
Yeah, I'm finding that even when there's been a return to in-person classes, there are now elements that are virtual because, for example, you mentioned guest speakers. It's so much easier to have a guest speaker in your class on Zoom than it would be to arrange all of the logistics for someone to travel to the school.
Right, it is. And for those speakers, it's so much more convenient because they can do an hour and a half session and not have to lose an entire day to the travel, right? And so we're able to get world-class speakers who are willing to engage directly with the students, share their expertise. And I think it's just a tremendous opportunity to escalate our game.
Now, Jamie, before you mentioned the number of different entrepreneurship electives in business formation, venture formation, I'm wondering, are there certain electives in the course catalog that are, like landmark experiences for anyone really interested in entrepreneurship at Fuqua?
For sure. And it varies. We have our applied courses and then we have our case-based courses. And our entrepreneurial strategy course is a case-based class. It's absolutely top notch. It's led by one of our world-renowned researchers and faculty members, Wes Cohen. And so we have hundreds of our students who opt to take that course as a foundational course for how do you think about strategy when you're a small firm competing against the giants out there. And then when you think about the experiential courses, our new venture course sequence is certainly the cornerstone of our program. And so starting with new venture discovery, which teaches you how do I find a problem worth solving, right? And all good ideas start with a good problem. And so, and then how do I start to test it and validate that problem is meaningful to my potential customers? And then from there, moving to new venture development, which focuses on, is this a business worth doing? Starting to understand the unit economics of the business and what has to be true for the business model to be viable, and really starting to do that testing. So again, as you talked about, John, the action bias of taking action. And so starting to test, starting to try to sell or pre-sell to your customers. And that's hard. That's really, really hard. We talk about it in theory, but when you have to go do it, that's when the rubber meets the road, and it's really hard. And then finally, for the students who are really committed to launching a venture post-graduation, we have our new venture delivery course that focuses on building the milestone-based plan, starting to cultivate those investor relationships to position yourself for success post-graduation.
Wow. So this 3-course sequence, if you take it, do you start taking it in your first year and then you conclude it in your second year, or do you take all 3 in your second year?
You can start taking these classes in your first year, which is really exciting. And I think what I appreciate most about the program that we've designed here at Fuqua is it's very flexible, because there are some people who say, I never want to found my own startup. I want to be I want to create value for someone else. I want to be part of someone else's startup. And so you don't have to start in discovery. You could actually come and join a team in development or in delivery and support another entrepreneur and dig deep and learn the tools and practice the skills and frameworks that you're learning through your core classes through any of these courses without having to commit to walking through the entire 3-course sequence. And so we really allow you to tailor your experience to your own career objectives. But if you're committed to launching a venture, you can start the second semester of the second part of your first year and get going and really be ready to be funded post-graduation. In fact, we've had students both of the past 2 years in the middle of a pandemic who have successfully raised first rounds of funding within the first few months of graduation. And I think that speaks volumes about the quality of preparation and the support and resources that they've gotten through their time at Fuqua.
I bet you have students who complete that sequence who actually don't launch companies. In other words, they want to go through it with the anticipation that at some time in the future, they'll do it. They may not be ready to do it now. Is that right?
That's 100% true. And in fact, one of the things that I love about our new venture development course is your final assignment is actually to make the decision, make a go, no go decision, because we embrace the failure. We embrace the notion that this may not be a business worth doing. And that learning is equally as valuable, if not more valuable, than the counter. And in fact, one of a student team I worked with just a year ago who had found a really great problem, like they really deeply understood the problem. It turns out it was probably not a problem that a business was going to solve. And there's complex layers to this. And they spent a lot of time. They spent 2 semesters working on this business idea, tackling a really meaningful problem, and came out the end of it and said, the economics aren't going to work on this. This isn't viable. And given our opportunity cost of doing something else, we're making a no-go decision and we're not going to pursue this idea now. But the learning they got through the process, right, has carried with them. And in fact, one of the founders recently, a year post-graduation, has now recently joined a Series A startup as in a director role, right, because she has that real experience to apply.
Right. Now I know there's been a long debate about whether or not you need an MBA to be an entrepreneur. And of course you don't. And there are some people out there who would say, hey, don't waste your money on an MBA. Take it, use that as your seed capital to launch your own business if in fact you want to do that. What's your take on all this? And this, this has been a long battled discussion over many years. I have my own feelings about this, but I want to hear yours.
Sure, John, of course. I get this question often, right? Is an MBA right for me? Well, if you think about what an MBA is, it is a training ground for helping you learn how to manage and lead a successful business. And to me, that's foundational for entrepreneurship. And so I think, an MBA program is great for an aspiring entrepreneur. You're going to get the foundations. You're going to see what's worked and what's not worked in other businesses and be able to take that and apply it to your own venture. And so I think there's tremendous value for an entrepreneur in getting an MBA.
Yeah, so do I. I mean, look, if there are people out there who actually think they're the next Steve Jobs or Elon Musk, good for them. Yeah. Go and do it yourself, even drop out of school if that's how you feel. But for us mere mortals, I think knowing the basics of marketing, accounting, finance, strategy, knowing how to lead others and work in a dynamic team are essential to success. So getting an MBA to be an entrepreneur where you could actually incubate your business with a lot of help from very smart, thoughtful people, including your classmates, really reduces the risk associated with business ventures and increases your likelihood of success. That's what I think.
For sure. And the resources that are available to you as a student entrepreneur, I mean, you're never going to find a better set of resources. Everyone wants, you have an entire team of people behind you wanting to see you succeed and wanting to help you succeed. And that alumni connection as well, right? It goes so far from funding to first hires to customer relationships. There's just a tremendous amount of value in the network and experience itself.
Now, Jamie, there's a lot of uncertainty in the world right now. The pandemic certainly is at the core of it, but there are big societal changes that are occurring in the United States and elsewhere. There's just inflation is rampant now again in our economy. And there's a lot of worry about the future. Is this really a good time for someone to launch a company?
I think it's a great time to launch a company. And if you look back in history, what you'll see is some of the world's biggest inventions and innovations were started in the middle of crisis. And so as when you look at crisis, when you look at a world that is in current upheaval, it's easier to spot the opportunities, right? People have new problems that are emerging. We personally all felt the pain points of what it means to do remote work, right? And that became,
Sure.
you're able to say, how do we now as entrepreneurs start to solve those problems? And so I think it's a great time for entrepreneurs to be out there looking for problems worth solving, and then applying, the skills and competencies that they have to bring that to life to meet a market need, because there's a lot of needs out there. There's a lot of problems to be solved, big problems that if you really come up with a solution that works, are going to have tremendous upside, both for you, but also for society.
That's really true. I mean, if you think about some of the world's biggest challenges, healthcare, education, climate change, all of these areas are ripe for change and ripe for people to be disruptive in a way that's highly positive for those problems.
Indeed, that's for sure. And I think that's one of the things that I see amongst our students is a growing interest and demand to apply their entrepreneurial skill set to positively impact society. It's not just about making money to them. They really are thinking about the impact that they want to have, the legacy they want to leave, and understanding that business can be a tool for good, and thinking about it in that way. And so I think the generation that's coming through our MBA programs now are more committed than ever to that.
Yeah, I see that myself. So, Jamie, what advice do you have for someone who's interested in the program? Can they reach out to you directly? Obviously, they can go to the Fuqua website and read a lot about it. But what other kinds of things should they be doing?
Yeah, I encourage you to reach out to our alumni office and get in contact with them. They can help connect you to current students that are part of our Entrepreneurship and Venture Capital Club, and you can get the student perspective of what it really feels like to be a Fuqua MBA who's interested in entrepreneurship and innovation. You're welcome to reach out to me directly through email, or connect with me on LinkedIn. The managing director of the center, Stefan Fusi, can also be a resource for you. And when you apply, make sure that on your application, you're noting your interest in entrepreneurship, because it's important for our admissions committee, and they can also help connect you to resources that might help inform your decision making as you're going through this MBA journey.
Now, is Fuqua encouraging visits to campus yet, or because of the pandemic, are you discouraging that right now?
I am not 100% sure if we're allowing, I know we can have some guests on campus, particularly if you're vaccinated. And so you may want to check in with the admissions office. I think things are ever changing in our environment. And so it's always good to check in there and find out what the current state is on allowing, on whether or not you can access campus or not. But again, as we learned during the pandemic, connecting virtually can also, there's tremendous value in that. And so I think figuring out how to be efficient and exploring your options and connecting in with Fuqua can be a great idea.
Yep, all good advice. Well, Jamie, it's been a real pleasure.
Thanks, John. I appreciate your time.
All right, thank you. So we've been speaking with Jamie Jones, a professor at Fuqua, who is also executive director of Fuqua's Center for Entrepreneurship and Innovation. If you're interested in developing an entrepreneurial mindset, or you're actually interested in using an MBA experience as an opportunity to incubate a new business, check Fuqua out and reach out to Jamie. You'll find her to be extremely helpful. I think the advice she gave to talk to alumni who have experienced the program, or in fact, the current members of the Entrepreneurship Club, would be a great place to start. to dig a little deeper and learn a lot more. So thank you for watching. This is John Byrne with Poets and Quants.